Welcome back, disgruntled sports fans. The NFL season is right around the corner. In fact, the preseason has already begun, and I'm going to break down a little bit of this preseason action for you. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to take a look at first round draft pick Fernando Mendoza, fresh off his national championship win with Indiana. Now, the preseason is scripted football. Every year, people will ask me, Jake, do you think the preseason is rigged as well? Yes, preseason games are fixed and every bit as phony as the regular season. So it's not about going out there and playing the best game of football you possibly can so that you can make the team. No, it's about going out there and doing what you're told. So in this case, Fernando Mendoza has been told to throw a pick six. So that means he's got to throw the interception on purpose. Check. And then that also means he can't make the tackle after he's thrown the interception. That means he has to miss the tackle on purpose. So here you can see Mendoza is keeping up with the defender who he threw the interception to. Now, you'll see when he gets right up near the defender, right here, he should be trying to knock this guy out of bounds. At the very least, wrap up his legs and make the tackle. If you threw the interception, now it's your job to go tackle this guy. But if you're going to throw a pick six, you can't be tackling the guy that you threw the ball to. So here, he'll make the dive, go for a foot swipe attempt, but miss on purpose. And there you have the pick six thrown on purpose. So again, Mendoza was told to go out there, turn the ball over, throw a pick six, and that is precisely what he did. So the fans think that all these players are trying their best to play a good game of football so that they don't get cut and so that they can be a starter on the team. So fans think that all these players are trying to make the team. And this isn't really what's happening. What's happening here is the NFL is trying out these new players in a different way. So they'll ask these players to go out there and purposely make mistakes, purposely play bad football. So in this case, Mendoza has been told he needs to throw a pick six. And if he wants to be the next Tom Brady, the next Joe Montana, part of being an NFL quarterback is throwing picks on purpose. That's right. If you want to be a legendary Hall of Fame quarterback, you have to go out there and throw pick six when you're told to do so. So here, Mendoza holds on to the ball extra long, and he's got two guys who were open for a second. So he could have already dumped the ball off to the running back or to the guy over here in the flat. So he could have dumped the ball off already. And if he doesn't like what he sees, he can throw the ball away. But since he's been told to throw the pick six, he purposely throws the ball behind the running back here. And then once the ball is picked off, you'll see that the running back doesn't make a tackle. So the running back right here should be trying to knock that ball loose or at least make a tackle, but he'll do neither. So instead he steps backwards, doesn't try and make a tackle attempt at all. And then this sets up the pick six. And of course Mendoza here with his foot swipe attempt. Whenever you see anyone dive, and then just go for a foot swipe. What they're doing is purposely missing the tackle, but they're trying to make it look like they're going for a real tackle attempt. So if you see a guy dive and he doesn't wrap up the feet and all he does is go for a foot swipe and the swipe misses, that's a clear indicator that the guy wasn't trying to make a real tackle attempt. And here you'll see, once he's thrown the pick, it's Washington's job here to swat that ball loose, or at the very minimum, make the tackle. And he's right there, right next to the defender who made the interception. And again, he steps back, pretends to stumble. So the devil is in the details. When you go back and you watch the replay in slow motion, go frame by frame, you'll see Mendoza right here, purposely not trying to make a tackle. So he dives, but he's not trying to actually grab the feet of the defender. Look. So people ask, Jake, why do you slow it down? Why do you pause it? Why do you put it in slow motion? That's because when you put it in super slow motion, you can clearly see that these guys are not playing a real game of football. So the fanboys think that these players during the preseason are trying their hardest to make the team, and they're trying to play the best game of football possible so that they don't get cut. Well, that's not the case. There's always players who play like crap during the preseason, and they still make the team. And there's guys who play good during the preseason, and they get cut anyway. What's really happening is they're trying out the players and seeing if they can follow instructions. For instance, on this play, this guy is supposed to return this ball for a touchdown. That means all of the Chargers players on the field are not allowed to make the tackle. They have to purposely miss the tackle. All of them. So in order to make the team, that means you have to go out there and miss tackles like this. So that first guy reaches out and then just falls down. Clearly he wasn't trying his best to make a tackle and make the team. No, it's the opposite. And then you have here a guy get blocked in the back, but this doesn't get called. And then you have two more Chargers players running up, but they're not allowed to make the tackle. So they don't even try. They just let the guy run right on by. Last but not least, you have the kicker standing right in front of the ball carrier. But he's just going to step aside and let the ball carrier run right on by. And of course, now he's got nobody left to beat. He just takes it to the house, nice and easy. So again, it's not about trying your best to play the best game of football possible so that you can make the team. No, if you want to be an NFL player, if you want to be a starter in the National Fixed League, you got to go out there and lose when told to lose. You got to miss tackles when you're told to miss tackles. You got to turn the ball over when you're told to turn the ball over. So that's what the preseason is all about. Getting these new players used to playing terrible football on purpose, making bonehead mistakes on purpose, like this, but then acting like it's an accident. So what the preseason also does is it gets the fanboys excited for the regular season, and it gets them back in the routine of watching these phony football games. Watch the kicker right here. Look at the kicker staring right at the ball carrier, and he's like, nope, I don't want any part of this. And of course, never forget the rule of thumb. If there is a betting line then that means the game is fixed. So if you can bet your money on the game, then the game is fixed. No exceptions. And so that counts in the preseason just as much as the regular season. So in this scenario, the 49ers are up 41-9, and there's only a little over a minute left to go in the game. So the game is essentially over, and the Chargers have no shot at winning. But there is still money to be won and lost. There's people betting on the total points scored, and that changes by the second on these betting apps in real time. So there's always money to be won and lost on each and every score. And so right here, the Chargers are going to have all the time in the world to complete this pass. And then once the pass is completed, you'll see the receiver goes down. So right here, the 49ers defender, all he needs to do is just touch him, and the player is down. But that's not what happens. Instead, he lets the guy stand back up, and then he grabs hold of him. And this whole time this is happening, there's a second 49ers player over here staring at the sidelines. Like, bro, what are you looking at? What could you possibly be looking at on the sidelines that's more important than helping your teammate make the tackle? But you see, these fellas have been instructed to let the Chargers score a touchdown. So that means this player right here who has the ball has to get by both these 49ers players, and they have to make it look like it's an accident. So the first 49ers defender lets him go and then dives and falls down. Yeah, that didn't look ridiculous at all. And then the guy who is staring at the sidelines suddenly decides now he's going to start going after the ball carrier. But he makes no tackle attempt whatsoever. So obviously they were instructed to let the Chargers score on purpose. And no grown man can argue this without doing some serious mental gymnastics. I'm sure some fanboys out there will say, oh, well, the game was already over and it didn't matter. No, if you're trying your hardest to make the team, you should be trying your hardest to make every tackle. So again, these third and fourth string players are not trying their hardest to make the team. Otherwise, they would be making sure they don't miss this tackle. So here's the receiver catching the ball. He goes down, and the 49er dude lets him stand back up. And then look at this effort. You can't tell me number 24 is trying his hardest to make the team. Lets him go, does a foot swipe and falls down. So number 38 of the 49ers back here, he can see the ball has been completed. He can see his teammate going over to make the tackle. And he decides to not help out at all and just stare at the sidelines inexplicably. So again, these players are not trying their hardest to play the best game of football possible. Because right here, if they were trying to play the best game possible, they would both be making this tackle right here, right now. But instead, both these 49ers defenders have to purposely embarrass themselves and let this guy score. So the preseason is just as fake and phony as the regular season or the playoffs. Make no mistake about it. And you can look at these players who get cut, who don't make the team. Look at them as extras in a television show. So every TV show, every movie has to have extras, and the extras are not the stars of the show. So a lot of times in movies and television shows, the extras are just glad to appear on camera and be involved, and a lot of them will do it for free or for very little pay. And so in the NFL, the same is true. You can probably get a lot of these guys to play these preseason games, and they'll do it for free or very little money just so they can say that they played professional football. Because if they don't do it, someone else will get the job. So a lot of these guys know they're going into the preseason without any chance of making the team. If you are still here watching at this point, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, make sure that you are subscribed, and I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.